You ready?
Ready or not, we're live.
Hey.
Hold on, we got it.
It looks like it.
I think so.
Yes, I think we are.
All right, we're live, guys.
You
So
can see
much
it?
for
Okay.
first.
Ashley, you want to start?
Yes.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to Pandora's Awareness Podcast, a place where we collect stories and circulate life-changing wisdom. And pardon the initial start, because technology, man, I'm telling you, oh my God, technology. But welcome, Shalece and our co-host here, Lavinia. We're here to chat about first-time experiences. It's a Monday. And if you got the track and the theme of the week, the entire week, we are centered around the theme of Mondays. We're going to talk about first time experiences. Tuesday, we talk about failures. Wednesday, we talk about fears. Thursday, needs, and Friday, victory. So we're going to start with first time experience. So, Celeste, welcome to the podcast. Hello, my friend.
Hey there. Thank you for having me. Happy to
Where
be
you
here.
where you hailing from right now?
I am in Detroit right now in the cold.
In the cold, the winter city.
The wind, not it, yeah, we can call it the Winter City.
The winter
Yep.
city.
Let's call it the Winter City.
Not the windy city, but the winter city.
Yep, that's exactly right. You got it.
Awesome. And Lab, how you doing, lady? How are you doing today?
I'm suntanning here in Florida, guys. But I know, wait, the summer will come and then you'll be laughing at me when I'll be sweating here, right?
No, I know I know Florida weather is very challenging. I'm not a fan of the Florida. It's flat, too flat for me, and too hot. Even though I was born and raised in Jamaica, but Florida is definitely a hot place.
It is.
Yeah,
And humid
humid. Yeah.
and
So let's
humid.
start the show, my friend. We're gonna chat, get everybody to understand exactly what's happening for us right now. We're here to talk about first time experiences, and we're gonna start off with you, Shalise. I'm curious about your first time experiences. I know you got a few, so if you
I
want to
have a
start off and share,
couple.
yeah,
So first, I'll tell the folks because they don't know me who I am. I'm
yeah,
Shalece
please.
Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I am a business coach. I help women, entrepreneurs to rest because we're exhausted. A lot of times we have this scarcity mindset where we have to keep going and going and going and going, and we can't turn it off. So I help you learn how to embrace rest and ease in your seven-figure journey. I help you get there too a lot more smoothly, if that's grammatically correct. So my first was in 2020, in 2020, December, I began the transition to live and move to Costa Rica, but I didn't know that that's what was happening at the time. I took a 3-week vacation, decided to extend my vacation, went to the other side of Costa Rica, and I flew home for a day. We were having a bad event, just a nasty event here in the States. And I flew back out to Costa Rica the next day and stayed for my very first 5 months. So that was my first time being away and alone and single away from my family, period.
Wow. Wow. Oh, is
Yeah.
it 38? Are you
I
age
was
38?
38. At the time, I was 38. I was 38 years old. And for being away from your family, I had children at a very young age. Had my first child at 18, was married at 19. So by 38, my second child was only 15, I believe. And
Mm.
so being at home on a constant grind with the kids, never had I experienced single life. And while for some people it may not be palatable, normal, like there's a lot of taboos against leaving your family or the woman separating from her family, I guess, so to speak. My family allowed me the freedom to do that. With COVID, so many things changed.
Mm.
And it was the best thing that could have happened for me and my family. And we've all benefited because of that.
So first time being away from your family, you went to Costa Rica.
I went to Costa Rica and got
Yeah.
hooked, Asher. I got hooked. I was like, I'm never. So there's a song. I don't know if you have ever heard this song, but there's a joke or something. It's like he calls home and says, I ain't never coming back. So basically, I asked first, I made it was like month by month by month. This is my second marriage, so my children are by my ex-husband. And so my daughter was already living in LA and my son was living with his dad. And I called home and I was like, listen, I'm staying for another month. And my son, he's the coolest little thing you ever want to meet. He's like, hey, mom, YOLO, at least I'll have somewhere to go. And so I stayed and then I extended it by another month. I ended up extending it by another month. Now, at this time, they're all coming to visit me and they're like, oh my gosh, oh, it's so beautiful. We ended up buying land there. That was a first, another first,
Another first. Wow.
another first and first. And so it goes.
Mhm.
So it seems like by experiencing new things, you're just starting a new life, right? A first time. If you start doing something for the first time, you kind of embrace a new you, right?
Lab, I feel like you just opened up, like you said it better than I could have said it, in that these experiences, when you do something for the first time, it's like you open yourself up, you build up this muscle memory of like this courage. And so you're less afraid to do other first things. And
That's
yeah,
true. That's true.
yeah.
Oh well, let me steal a little bit the light because oh my God, you just talk about your first time being away from your home.
30 years.
How about I tell you guys my first time coming to United States?
Please.
This was like 12 years ago. It was 2012. I was studying my master's degrees, and up to that point, I left the country only around Europe just for a week or two vacation. But then in 2012, I came here with a exchange program for students called Work and Travel, and I actually worked. And actually worked my beep 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 off because I had 3 jobs.
Wow.
And I didn't have time to party whatsoever. I did not have the comfort of being home, having my car, having my brother who spoiled me, my mom who took care of me. And I'm like, I don't like it here. I want back home. Oh my God, it was challenging, but I made it hard on myself by having these financial goals and just being ambitious to sleep 4 hours at night and just kill myself with 3 jobs. So that was like, oh, I love it home. But then I went back home and I had this, curiosity. I was like, I wonder how my experience would have been if I would have worked less and actually take time to enjoy. Because we were a group of Romanians here in the United States, and most of them, oopsie, no battery. Most of them had only one job, and after that job, after 5 p.m., they were just partying and enjoying life and trying restaurants and emerging in the culture.
Yeah.
Which I had no chance to do that because I had no time. So after I became a flight attendant, I made it my purpose to come back and see it from different angles. And I fell in love with the country and I decided to move here.
That is so awesome. So when you first came back, I'm curious to know, like, what was the first thing that you reveled in where you said, wow, this is a different perspective. It feels really good to be here.
Let me tell you, second time I rented a car and I was just visiting, just enjoying the good life as a tourist, just going to find restaurants, driving around, sightseeing, going to the beach, just befriending strangers. It was amazing. I was like, wow. And I had the chance to make friends, which I didn't have that chance for the first time. And I had the chance to talk to local people and have them explain to me the challenges that you guys have here. The practically to see the country through their eyes and understand the culture a little bit more and the food.
So what did you think about the food? What's
Oh,
your
I love the
favorite
food.
food?
I
What's
love
your
the food because it's so diverse. It's so diverse. Growing up in my country, we had very limited dishes and restaurants. I guess we had a lot of Italian, because
okay.
who doesn't love Italian, right? But except, beside Italian, it was just Romanian and Italian. And here I am having all the cuisines one can imagine and all you can eat.
Yes, yes, basically that's what it's like here. So, I don't know, Asher, were you going to tell us one of your firsts,
I,
or
I
should
will
I?
I will I will get to mine.
You
I was
get
I
to
was I
it.
was working behind the scene to make sure the technical stuff is working.
He
But yes,
saves
yes.
the best for last.
Okay.
No, but
Shalece, maybe
I'm
we go
listening
back
to
to you.
yeah, I'm listening to you both traveling ladies, and it's amazing when you guys get to travel and see stuff. And
Yeah.
Lavinia being a flight attendant, I know you've seen a lot of places, but being the first time doing all of that stuff, and you're saying this what per usually going to what that country near you right again? Oh my God.
Costa
Costa
Rica?
Rica?
Costa Rica, there we go. Going to Costa Rica. Was that the first time you've been in that side of the world?
It wasn't the first time that I've been in that side of the world. I studied in so Central America, like we go to Mexico often that we know. Well,
Mhm.
I guess that's in North America. Actually, maybe that was my first time in Central America.
Mm.
Sorry, y'all. Maybe that was my first time in Central America, now that I'm thinking about it. So
You speak Spanish?
a little.
Maybe you should have taken Lavinia with you because I think she speaks Spanish.
Do you speak Spanish, Lavinia?
I do. We have to
I
go together next time.
Okay, we definitely, because you can be my translator. It's something about I can get into the community and I begin to understand, but I don't speak it fluently, and you can tell. So another first, I'm building a house there internationally,
Mm.
right? This will be my first one, even though I have the real estate business. And understanding the culture is so much more important than understanding the language, so to speak. So Lavinia,
Aha.
when you said something so important when you came to the States, you obviously know how to speak the language, you worked really hard and so on, but it wasn't until you returned that you began to talk to the people and understand the culture through their lens. So while Asher, I can understand the language, right? A little, mostly, right? I can speak it a little bit, but there's something about the culture that even though I've been there a little while or time and again, when you're negotiating, things are just different. And I'm getting
Mm.
acclimated with that.
Mm.
But you know what's beautiful about it? Once you actually do get used to it and it's part of your personality, and now you're so multicultural because you can fit in perfectly, even if you have an accent or you do grammar mistakes like I do here in the United States, abusing English and inventing words. But still, I still feel part of the culture just because
Good.
I did embrace a lot of the habits, and it's great. You can just travel and just switch. It's like you have a switch button, you know. Oh, okay. Well, I'm in Costa Rica now. I'll switch to
Yes.
their habits and
Yes.
their behaviors. And yeah, I love it.
So in some ways, I do. Okay, so in the business sense, I don't. And so now this is at top of mind since I just started building my house
Mm.
or a collection of, well, I'm building some Airbnbs there, right? And at top of mind is this whole business aspect. They look at you and you're a tourist, sure. So I understand the Pura Vida life and how to relax and how to just slow down and be accommodating to other people. It was that I didn't understand how business was done. And that's a different,
Mm.
I'm
I'm
used
curious about
to,
that. Yeah, tell us about that process.
so, okay. And I hope, listen, there ain't no cutting this out now. If I say something that you don't like, then you just gonna deal with it. So I'm on the land and I hire this gentleman to dig a well for me so I can get water. First thing, well and electricity here. So I get the water, you have to have the water before you can get the electricity. And I'm talking to the architect who's there while they're doing these other things. And I have a friend come over, and he's local. A Tico is what they're called. Tico for the guys, Tika for the ladies. And I call him over because there are nuances and idiosyncrasies that he understands that I don't, again, about the culture. So as he's walking over, I'm standing there and I'm talking to the architect, and he says, "Oh, it's his land." And in Spanish, like, "Oh, it's his land." And I'm like, despacio, thinking like, slow down a little bit because clearly I didn't understand you. And he's like, "Oh," speaks English, "it's his land." I'm like, if the price is right, it is. Now tell me what we're going to do. What are we doing? And those types of things are, I have to learn to, one, I wasn't offended by it. I didn't care. Just give me what I need. He ended up not being my architect for other reasons. But the other piece was, things are different when you're in a different place. And I take for granted that I know, like, when they see me show up, it's my stuff. It's my stuff. It's my properties that I'm showing up to. It's my rent that I'm collecting. It's my contractor that I'm hiring here in the States. But there, things are a little different. And I have to remember that and respect that.
So what do you mean? I didn't understand it. What did he meant when he said it's his land?
Thank you. Okay, so to be very clear, is that as a woman, are you seriously telling me that as a woman, and potentially Black woman, I don't know, I won't add that layer on there, but as a woman, my experience is that there is some machoism or machismo, I guess, in the culture, from my understanding, from my experience, from my perspective. And that, are you the one that own this land? Oh, no. Okay, now I understand. It's his land. Of course, it's not your land. That's what I got out of that statement.
Okay, I understand. I also, wow, it's so interesting that you touched on this nuance of how in other countries they do view women a little bit different. And I know that this is a controversial topic in real life.
I'm like, we don't have to go any further, but you can't delete it now. It's out there.
Speak the truth. Speak the truth. Hey, listen. This is no curve. There's no curve here.
I do want to say that so many in those cultures, it's normal. For them, it's normal. Most of the time, the women don't feel like that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's what they know, because that's how they grew up. They embrace it. For them, men do all those things and they do other stuff. And you know what? So many of them, they wouldn't want to do what men do because they want to do their women stuff.
What's defined as, or whatever they've grown up, what they're used to, what's defined
exactly.
as. The thing is, I don't like the traditionally, I don't like those labels that have, like, I don't do what those traditional things are that women would do. And it took me so many years to realize that I actually didn't like doing it. It took me years to say, I'll pay someone to clean, actually. I'll pay someone to cook, because I like to negotiate. I like to do the deals. I like to work. I like to do things that,
wow.
And I understand that in those cultures, and I have to respect that. And that's why I can't get upset for them just being normal and natural in themselves.
That's amazing that you understand. And because I think the problem comes where people, they don't understand, they do get offended, and they do want to force upon other cultures their view of normality. But I like what you said, that it's a personal preference. You just don't like to do all those tasks that throughout history were women's duties. And I love that you said that you don't like, and because that kind of gives freedom to other women to say, but I love doing that. I don't like to negotiate. I like to take care of my men. I like to cook. I like to clean. Come kill me if it's so wrong. And then other women can say, but I like to negotiate as well, and cook and clean and do all those things. I just love it.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. We reached at this time in life where we have the ability to truly be free. And when you're truly free, you do what you really want, not what the society tells you that you should be doing.
You do. I agree. 100%. I love that. And as such, Lavinia, you said something about you were exhausted and you were working 3 jobs and you didn't enjoy the culture. You didn't get a chance to do anything. And yet your friends were like going out and doing things. Well, many times entrepreneurs don't. So I understand what you went through. And another first, yet another first, is that I've actually decided to have a women's radical rest retreat for women to just nap in hammocks, walk on the
Mm.
beach, get massages, eat
Mm.
good food
In Costa Rica?
in Costa Rica and do
Mm.
nothing. Literally nothing. They can sit down all day and be served.
Oh, I love it. Count me in. When is it?
It's April 9th through 14th, and it's in Limon, Puerto Viejo, Limon, Costa Rica.
Wow.
How many people can attend? Do you have like a limit?
Okay, so this is being that it's my first time, I understand that it's like a test, or I wouldn't necessarily call it
The
beta, but
beta?
it is my
Okay.
first time and it's going to be clunky. And so I'm limiting it to 6 women. We are going to have a private plane that we'll be flying in from the main hub, San Jose, over to Puerto Viejo, Limon. We have a private chef. We have a yoga teacher coming in, a sound healing teacher coming in to do some meditation in the morning. And get this, we have an Essence magazine featured photographer that's going to come and do a beach photo shoot for us. So it's going to be so good.
Oh my
So good. I
God.
can taste it.
I want to come. Please take me. Can I be number
Oh,
7?
okay. Let me disrupt this happiness this happening right now because you talking about only for the ladies. Is that what you just said?
I did, but Asher,
Mm.
I think that there needs to be room for men as well. I wouldn't
Mhm.
be the facilitator because I don't know what, with all due respect, I don't have that perspective, you know? So I
Mhm.
feel that there's opportunity
Mhm.
for a man to come in and provide the same and a little bit of a different experience where men are in a safe space to be vulnerable. And we're missing that. And a
Oh.
friend of mine named Ken from Detroit, when I told him, I said, you should tell your wife to come. He was like, shoot, I want to come. I said, well, there's no, I was like, I can't, men are not invited to this one. And plus, I'm a woman. Like, I can't have that experience for you. I don't know what it's like to be a man. I can't help you be open up and be vulnerable in that space. But himself and another guy named Nasheed, he's from Detroit. He lives in Costa Rica. They both are very interested,
Mhm.
very, very interested in having something like that for themselves. So they were like,
Mhm.
no, 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 not for my wife. What about me?
There you go,
Okay.
Asher. You have an opportunity to get
I was
I got to
meet
think
more
about
men.
like I'm just thinking right now, like just the opportunity to sit down as men, probably work through like forgiveness, because it's some of that stuff that we go through. We need to forgive a lot of folks because we've done a lot of wrong. So yeah, we gotta go back. I'm speaking for myself. Speaking for myself. Like speaking for myself. But forgiveness might be something. But I'm thinking about it now. Interesting.
Yeah,
Collaboration here.
there are men needed too. And there was another man that reached out to me too. I'm like, it's not co-ed. The conversation wasn't the same. He was like, yeah, I'd love to hang out and relax on the beach. But for these 2 men in particular, they were like, man, we really need a place to release, to feel safe, to like
Hmm.
just go deep. I'm like, well,
Wow.
not my space.
What is the universe telling me right now? I gotta think. I gotta go think about this here,
Yes,
Shalece. Oh my God.
You got to
Mm.
make
exactly.
it happen.
And I love. Is your location close to the beach?
My location is right there. It's right across from the beach.
Right across from
It's
the
a
beach.
beach called Playa Grande.
Ah.
And we're staying at a resort called Casa Mona. And it is owned by a Black woman who was one of the first people that I met when I made it to Costa Rica. And yet at the time, she didn't own the resort.
Mm.
But through the years, she owns this resort. And so obviously, I support her when I go. And so does my family. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. It's private. It has 2 kitchens. We'll have service there. It's small, it's quaint. The grounds are just gorgeous. And I feel really good. I feel
Mm.
really good about
You
this.
just you just had me when you mentioned the private jet.
That is one
Because
of
I'm shallow
Lavinia's
like
dream,
that.
by the way, is to have her own private jet.
So
Yeah.
let me say, it's not like one of these big plush executive private jets. It is a private plane because there's too many logistics, like with people not coming in enough time and us not leaving. You like, I don't want to play around with flights and driving 5 hours through the jungle to try to get there. I want them to be able to exhale as soon as they get off that plane. Now, I do have 2 more spots open. Just FYI, I've sold 4. I have 2 more, and if someone wants this experience or wants to talk about this experience, they can always hit me up.
So how they
You,
can reach out to you or where
They
they can see
hey, right in this
what
chat
you
right
offer.
now. So
in this chat.
yeah, in this chat right now. Listen. I want you guys to do. You guys do me a favor, please. Put hashtag live in the chat if you're watching, or hashtag replay in the chat if you're watching, and then definitely Shalece, she gonna be on. You can hit her up anytime,
I
anytime.
will.
Yeah.
I will.
But here's something I was thinking about
But still,
too.
you can mention it for the
I
people who
can.
are.
So I'm at Coach Shalece D.
Mm.
CoachShaleced, as in Daniels. Everywhere.
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 Mm.
Same.
But I'm gonna introduce my first time experience because you mentioned by the beach because I was thinking about scuba diving. And I don't know if there's scuba diving close by your location or not, but
Nice. Not too far. Yeah.
not too far.
Kawita.
Yeah. Oh. But I remember the first time because scuba diving was one of the things that I really love doing. But I remember the first time I started doing it, and it's been a life-changing event for me. I don't know if anybody's scuba dive, but it's an awesome experience because there's a whole nother world down there
Yeah.
under the bottom of the ocean. Do you scuba dive?
I do not. Snorkeling is as far as I go. But I was thinking about it. I was telling my husband, I'm like, well, perhaps maybe I should try scuba diving. I'm always trying to try something, right?
First time, another first time experience you add to your list. Scuba
Yeah,
diving.
I could.
Yeah. But
I could.
I started my journey in Hawaii. I got certified in Hawaii
Nice.
scuba diving, and it's been something that I'm encourage other people to add to the list. Like remember, the planet is what 7% water. That's what they say. There's a whole
That's what
nother
they
world
say.
out there in the ocean. Amazing when you do it. But I remember this one
Yeah.
experience I had in Cuba. I was scuba diving in Cuba, and one of my heroes is Sadhguru. You know this guy named Sadhguru?
No, I
He's an
don't.
Indian yogi. He's an Indian yogi. But he used to talk about the idea that like he doesn't sometimes he's like thoughts are puny. Sometimes I don't think. I'm like, what? Sometimes I don't think. Sometimes you don't have no thoughts. I'm like, that's impossible. But then I'm open-minded. So I'm like, I'm gonna listen to this guy. So my experience of scuba diving taught me something about the idea he was talking about no thoughts at all.
Mm.
So I remember one day I was diving, me and my buddy, we was out there, a lot of us out there diving. I like to dive with a group of people because I don't want to be by myself down here, right? So I'm diving with a group of people, and I remember I caught myself thinking. And I was like, I wasn't thinking for however long it was. I had no thoughts. And I'm like, oh my God, Thought Guru is right. You can have no thoughts.
Yeah, you
And I was
can.
like, after that, I become a believer, even big time, because I experienced that. But I wouldn't experience that it was for scuba diving under the ocean, just floating around, no thoughts at all. But yeah, you should add scuba diving to your trip. Maybe I can
I
put that
should.
in there.
I don't how I don't know. The ocean,
I'm
the
pushing it too far.
ocean, the ocean and I have a um strained relationship.
Mm.
But nothing bad has ever happened. It's just when I see, to me, I've seen some things happen. And then when I see the waves, I'm like, I was just playing. I'm going back to shore. I was just
I do have,
kidding.
I do have to say that I actually I'm planning to learn scuba diving and be certified,
Yes.
right, this year.
Yes.
So I'll do it.
Awesome.
But the pressure thing kind of scares me. I mean, because I did do a little bit of diving, and then you can feel that pressure on your chest. And that's a little bit scary until you get used to the thing, I guess.
Lad, we gotta save the fear for Wednesday. Don't talk about no fear, okay? We
That's
save
a
the
good
fear
one.
for
That's a
Wednesday. You
good
gotta
one.
go do this
Oh my
thing,
God,
okay?
that's a great fear.
You gotta go do this
Oh,
thing, Lab.
goodness.
When you
The
mentioned
chest,
about
the pressure on my chest. No, Lab, you gotta go do it. No excuses.
when you mentioned about not thinking, oh my God, you took me back to my first time fishing. My sister-in-law and my brother apparently have this passion of going fishing, and this is new in my brother's life, right? He started doing this with his wife, and I honestly was judgmental of how much fun this will be. Like, really? Oh my God, I enjoyed it. I cannot explain. I don't have words to explain it, how relaxing that was. Because we were on the boat as the boat was moving. In Romanian, they call it spinning, because you throw the thing and then you spin it back, and you throw it, then you spin it back. So you're constantly engaged in this motion, and then you have the water around you, right? It's so relaxing. And as you're just focusing on just throwing it and spinning it back and throwing it, indeed, it was like a meditative state where I had no other thoughts. I was so relaxed. It was beyond my expectations. So now I understand guys when they want to go fishing.
So do you fish now, Lav?
That was my first and only experience, just because I am not surrounded by people who do that. But I would love to, actually. I'll start doing it again this year. Thank you for suggesting.
So, okay, here's another first. How many firsts are coming up? I climbed
I
Mount
love the way you just
Kilimanjaro.
you keep introducing your first.
I keep
This is so
introducing
awesome.
more firsts.
So you
It,
you
it
live an awesome life. You got so many firsts. Keep going.
it all started with the Costa, I think much of it started with that one moving to Costa Rica. How Lab was like then one thing after another, after the other, after the other. So I decided to climb Mount Kilimanjaro last year. And that's in Tanzania. And in terms of being in the meditative state, Lab, like there's nothing that I think, because it was so tough. It was such a difficult thing that you're paying so much attention to what you're doing, just one step after the other, after another. So you can climb this mountain that there's nothing else in your mind except, where you're going to step. It's rocky terrain, sometimes slippery, it's cold, sometimes snowy, and you're just 100% focused almost 4 to 6 hours a day.
It's beautiful, which makes me say this. You guys realize that our three experiences, one under the water, one on the surface of the water, and the other one way above the water, actually, on each experience, we were just enjoying the present moment. That's what we were all doing. Nothing else was there in our mind. Nothing else existed except that thing that we were doing in that present moment. And apparently, that's where you find blissfulness, right? In the present moment.
Wow.
You know what else is interesting? The fact that it all has something to do with nature.
Yes.
First times.
Yes. Bridget,
Yeah.
yes.
Interesting. Lab, did I tell you a wise person? You got some wisdom. Did I tell you that before?
I'm becoming, because I'm rubbing shoulders with you, Ashton. That's why.
But you mentioned something about first time experience, how it puts you in the moment. Once you start doing it, right? Because before you take that first step, you start hesitating, you start second guessing yourself, so forth and so on. But once you do it, like doing eliminates all that thing that was sitting in your mind. So you're in the present moment now, because you're present doing it. That's amazing. So thank you for like bringing that up, Mrs. Wise Lady. Hello.
Great, thank you. And let's jump into a first time, a funny first time, because we were down deep and wise, and let's goof around a little bit. I'll make you guys laugh.
I'm ready.
So what I want all of you is to use your imagination right now. So I'll briefly talk about my first time flying ever as a passenger. I think I was 20 or 21. First time I had a trip with my mom. It was a vacation, right? And I looked at that flight attendant and she was gorgeous. And I was like, oh man, I want to be just like her. 10 years later, I was just like her. I was the flight attendant and it was my first flight. And everything went perfect. My uniform was, perfect, and my looks, and we had to have the red lipstick all the time and red nails, and everything was perfect, like in the military. I assume everything has to be, And I have a break, and my colleagues are offering me a coffee, and I got to sit down on the jump seat. Now, guys, if from the name of the seat you don't realize, it's a seat that, jumps when you stand. So I was seated, and then my colleague kind of like gave me the cup, and I guess I stood up to grab the cup, and then I went to sit right back. But what happened? There was no seat there waiting for me. So all of a sudden, I'm now with legs up, with my skirt and the coffee all over me.
Oh.
That was on my first flight as a flight attendant. I
Wow.
cannot even tell you how embarrassed I was, right? Because I was already nervous, because I was for the first time living in a foreign country, first time on my flight, first time surrounded by all these coworkers, which we ended up being so good friends that was something that I could have done in every flight from that moment on. But that first time, it was so embarrassing. Like,
Yeah.
just imagine myself, and I'm tall. I'm 5'9". It's hard because I'm with centimeters, guys. Please switch it to centimeters. Make it easy for me.
Make it easy for everybody.
And in high heels, and I had to wear the skirt, and all of a sudden, all those legs
Oh
are
my
in the air,
gosh.
and the coffee is on my white shirt. Oh my God.
Okay, so what did you do?
I went and cried in the bathroom. No, I was just laughing, embarrassed, and I took thankfully, I had a set of uniform
Yeah,
with me,
awesome.
and I changed, and took it from there. What I do in moments like this, I learn to make fun of myself and the situation. So
Good.
I'm laughing at me first. So of course it's a moment of embarrassment for a few seconds, but then I laugh at me first, and then practically I allow the rest of the world to laugh because I'm laughing at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that in the front of the plane?
No, it was in the back of the plane. Luckily. Luckily.
Got
So
lucky.
then you went and changed your clothes, right? And made yourself presentable. It probably loosened you up a little bit. And another little girl was probably on that plane looking at you, saying the same thing. I'm going to be like her.
I love you.
I'm gonna
You're
laugh at myself. I'm gonna
amazing.
be a
Thank
flight
you for
attendant
bringing
someday.
that
No,
up.
she didn't say. But yeah, I mean, that's how it all happens. And 10 years later, or something like that. That's how
I'm
it
gonna
happens.
I'm tease you back, take it back a little bit, Live. You mentioned that you say you saw a flight attendant when you was with your mom, and then she inspired you to become a flight attendant. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I looked at her, and in my head, I was so fascinated. I was like, I just want to be just like her. And I was a few years later.
Yeah.
So the power of imagination and the thought, and so the power of speaking it into existence. So guys, be careful what you think about all day, every day, or even once, you see, because for me, it was that first impactful moment that was registered on my brain and made my life follow that path.
I'm curious. So what about that lady that hit you so hard, so deep that you wanted to become, at least do a profession? Yeah.
It's just they have a particular look because they have to be so presentable. Everything has to be perfect. So in a crowd, they will stand out because they have to be so perfect, regardless of their features, or their height or all that. They have to be just so well put together. And she was having a great smile, and she was so pleasant, and she was so kind when she approached us to, I don't know, ask if we need something, or so she just had a wonderful aura around her.
Yeah. Yeah, it matters. It absolutely matters. Funny first.
You got one?
I couldn't think. I was listening to Lav's story that I really couldn't think. I'd have to wait and think a little longer on a funny first. I'm sure I have many funny firsts.
Funny first.
Yeah, I have many funny firsts.
Yeah, Live, you got us off guard on that one.
Yeah.
We don't sound like funny people. I think you're the only one that's funny on here, Live.
That was a good one.
The first time I can't think of a funny joke. Interesting.
Interesting.
The thing is, again, I'm coming from my culture, or the Romanian culture, and we did had a tough life. When I was born, and 10 days later, we had the revolution that overthrown the communist government. So it was a gray picture. If I picture Romania before my birth, it was gray, and people were gray, and everybody were having the same shade of gray, because practically that's the idea of communism. Everybody has to be equal. Nobody will own more than the other, or nobody will own anything, because everything will be for everybody. Therefore, you don't really have your own life, your own personality. Yeah, it's just a blend of gray. So I guess coming out of that, or even in the middle of that, we had to make fun of the situation, to laugh at the hardships, right? So I do think that that's a trait in my culture. We do make fun of hardships, of embarrassing situations, of hard stuff. We laugh at it a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's good. To be able to laugh at yourself, to laugh at difficult situations. So you won't become depressed. If you have to go through it, I guess you may as well laugh at it. I have so many firsts. I'm sure I have laughable firsts.
Well, we're gonna get to the
And
laughable later if we can think of them.
okay.
But you've been such an awesome guest, by the way, Shalece. I don't want to let
Oh,
you know
thank you.
I
you're
would say
natural at
you've
this
been
thing.
a co-host with us here.
Yeah, we
Uh-oh.
got to bring it back a bunch of times. Like, hey, Monday first. Come on, Shalece, what you got?
What? I'm
Or
gonna run out.
we gotta weave you throughout the week. We gotta test you on all of that, all of the
Oh my
themes.
goodness.
Yeah.
Um,
First time being
so,
a mom.
oh
How
my
is it
gosh. So,
We
laugh,
lost
laugh,
Lab.
laugh. Okay,
She
she'll
gonna
come
come back on.
back. She'll probably come back. First time being a mom. Whoa, that was some scary. This is for a Wednesday. That was woo, that experience. Even I was just talking to my daughter about it at brunch. She came to brunch yesterday, and I was just talking to her at brunch about it. And oh my gosh, it was so flippin' scary. I didn't have time to worry about like anything else except being a mom, taking care of them. So yeah, that was
What was your age?
interesting.
What was your
I
age?
was 18 when I had my first child and 23 when I had my second. So I have two children, two adults, two young adults.
So you're like an empty nester now? Is that what it is?
Oh, almost. My son is 18. He's down in North Carolina playing baseball at a baseball academy. And my daughter, she's out. She's on her own. She lived in LA for 4 years and now she's back in Michigan and she's working. And I'll be in North Carolina for my son's tournament, like the 13th through the 18th or something like that. So I'll be leaving in a couple of days to go down to North Carolina to see my son. But in terms of being at home, like I do what all empty nesters do, exactly whatever I want. No, no piano lessons, no soccer, no baseball, like nothing. You just can do
Uh,
nothing. Have fun, parties, friends over, whatever. You're in the area, come on, you know.
wow. It sounds like this part of your life is like the first time you've been having so much fun, huh?
Yeah, I would say for sure, for sure. My kids call me pre-COVID mom, post-COVID mom.
Mm. What's the difference?
Post-COVID mom is much more understanding. I don't take myself as seriously. I don't take anything as seriously because after going through something like that, why? Why would you? Post-COVID mom is a lot more understanding. Post-COVID mom is a leader, not a dictator. Someone that is a natural leader, like someone that you want to follow, as opposed to being told what to do, someone you call for advice, right? That's the post-COVID mom that I've become, and I love it. And for the first time, they call me and ask me, like, what should I do instead of saying, stop telling me what to do. Lab, while you were gone, Asher just asked, like, tell me what it's like, first time being a mom. I was like, oh, that was that's some Wednesday type stuff, right? But then we got into pre-COVID mom and post-COVID mom, and that's what you came in on.
I was just paying playing a game with you guys. Now you see me, now you don't. Now you see me again.
No, that's a joke.
Peekaboo.
That's a joke for you right there. I think
Peekaboo,
I
you're
think
fine.
Lav is working her way to being a mom. So maybe you need to talk to her there, coach her up there, Shalece.
Well,
Oh,
I'm not. I'm not. Maybe, please. I'm still a pure person. But I mean, I do see myself a mom in a few years. It's that or never, because it'll be too late.
yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, there's many options for folks that still want to be moms, but parents, right?
That's
However,
true.
it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm sure you already know you have friends, you've seen it growing up and stuff. And it's a tough thing. It's something that doesn't need to be taken lightly or entered into lightly. You need to be intentional. At least that would be my advice, anyhow.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's a great, I mean, watching my kids right now is like, wow, you guys came from me. How is this possible? Like, thank you. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, going again to a funny situation. It was a month ago. I'm a realtor as well, and we had a closing. And before the closing, then there was an inspection, and the one of the owners was there, and I was there with the inspector, and we started talking. He was an awesome guy and telling me about kids and all that. And I was like, man, it's hard to have kids. It's so hard. And he was negative about how hard it is, and I know it's hard, right? But let's say no, he wasn't negative. He was talking from the other perspective, because there are so many perspectives that you can look at. One of your blast is amazing, but the other one is, man, this is hard. So he
It
was talking
is.
about the hard part. And obviously I know, because I have niece and nephew and friends, and I've been around them, and I actually stayed a few months with my brother and his family, and I know it's hard to have little kids, but I also know they're adorable. I love them, and they do make the life better, and it gives a different sense to your life. But then, I told him, like, I see. Well, based on what you're saying right now, I just took the decision. I don't want to have kids anymore. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I owe you the fact that I will not procreate. And he was like, what? No, 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 I wasn't serious. And I started laughing. I was like, I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you. It's fine. So yeah, for a second he got scared that he kind of changed my entire future.
You should have played up for a little bit, like, hey brother, you gotta pay me some money, man, for me to change my mind.
It's with kids, it is difficult. That I've cried many, many times wondering if I'm doing it right, if I did the right thing, and you'll never get it right. Like everything with the kid is a first. Even with the second kid, the situations are the first, right? Because they're two different people. And the way that you're like, dang, just when I thought I had it, you have to come at this other child differently, right? It's it's an it's I wouldn't trade it, and I'm so glad I didn't have more than two. I made it out alive. Like I don't know how, but I made it. Yeah.
My sister-in-law cannot hear this episode because they're moving to Spain right now, and they have two kids, right?
Yeah.
And the joke of the week is that apparently in Spain, if you have three kids, you're a big enough family for them to give you a lot of I think subventions is the right word to say. You pay less on all the living stuff, living expenses if you have three kids, as opposed to two or one. So my brother really wants a kid, and not that my sister-in-law doesn't want to, but she's more realistic. I'm like, this is hard. I don't know if I can, start it all over. But this is the joke of the week. You gotta have one more. I mean, look at all those discounts that you'll have with your third kid.
Take one for the team. Just go ahead. Come on, put another one in there. This is a team effort around here. Yeah. Interesting. For me, I am, two and that was really good. I'll wait on the grandkids in 20 years.
20 years.
Right. I know. Listen, maybe. Oh,
how old are your kids?
18 and 23.
Okay.
Oh, and you think it'll take them 20 years
I
to
know,
hear your
listen.
first?
Thanks, Lav. Thanks a lot.
Oh, that's what you want?
I do. Please give me 20 years of, I don't know if I have PTSD from the teenage Ty or what. I'm not sure, but I'm like, please, I don't want to go through that again. Not too soon. So it's great. I can wait though. I'm looking forward to having grandchildren at the right time when their parents are ready and all that. But I feel like I just gained my freedom for the first time, right? So being a young mom, I'm not rushing my children to have grandkids at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. We are winding down right now, Shalece and Lavinia. You guys' conversation has inspired me about how to think about this show going forward and how to really
Yes.
navigate it. And the first
Okay.
really impressed. I'm very impressed how this turned out, by the way, with just talking about the first, because all our stories is trapped in those first time experiences. This container of being the first time experience is really important. And sometimes we forget those things. And we have time to reflect and go back like, wow, I remember when I first did that,
Yeah.
and just kind of value your past a little bit more better, because sometimes we depreciate the past because we have the experience, we just collect it and we just put it in a closet somewhere. You gotta go back and look at it and say, "Oh, I remember when I first did that. How did I feel about that?" So thinking through. Go ahead, Lab.
And it's another thing. Because, as you grow up, almost everything is a first. Then you become an adult. Then you learn everything that you think you know and you need. And you just repeat the same things in your life. And then you don't have firsts anymore because you don't have that. You did not exercise that courage of doing things for the first time. And you're just complacent and you don't move forward. So it's important to encourage firsts, even when we're adults.
Yes.
I love that you said that because there's one thing that I forgot to mention. And I think I talked about this with you, Asher, when we talked.
Oh.
Because of what you just said, I don't want to not feel new and have vigor. I have a list called Well, I Didn't Die. And on this Well, I Didn't Die list, I always try to challenge myself to do things that I'm uncomfortable with. Because as a business coach, if you are pushing your client out of their comfort zone, well, how do you learn to push them out of their comfort zone if you don't consistently push yourself out of your comfort zone? And so, Well, I Didn't Die list, it's getting pretty daggone long. And before you know it, that scuba diving might be on there. And I'll be calling you and Asher like, guess what I just did?
Wow. Shalece, you knew to keep it new
Yeah.
on that I didn't die list.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I didn't die.
Okay, I
like
say
that.
we plan this. We meet all in Costa Rica and do some scuba diving together.
We can do that. How I
Mhm.
have to get certified, but I'm sure I can get certified somewhere over there. We can do that. Why don't we do that? Really?
Yeah. All right,
I'm here
guys,
all the
this was
time. Y'all
fun.
just come on over.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with Shalece, since you're the most expressive one so far in this conversation. I love it. What are some of your biggest takeaways so far as we wrap up?
Ooh, understanding the freedoms that other folks have, understanding the way that firsts trigger more firsts, they trigger more firsts, they trigger more firsts. Thinking about the meditative state of being in nature and being, I think Lav said, like below on the surface and far above, and continuing to keep myself fresh and new with firsts more and more.
Lav?
I think the biggest takeaway was that it's a muscle that you do have to exercise it. And as you do it more and more and more often, you'll start doing it without thinking about it. You won't be afraid anymore. You'll just jump doing firsts.
Well, my biggest takeaway that I'm jealous. I'm so jealous of Shalece living in Costa Rica, hanging out in the sun right now. Being from Detroit, but over there just hanging out. That's my biggest takeaway. I want to go there. But overall, you guys have really entertained the folks that are listening. Give them some insight, some foresight, some hindsight to see what's in plain sight, right? About how you journey, the first time experiences, because those are very valuable. And I would encourage everyone that's watching right now, hey, start recording your first time experience because your story is trapped in those first time experiences. The conversation we have with other people is a lot of them about first time experiences. And you get to share and bond together about when I did this for the first time, or the next thing I'm gonna do for the first time, what I plan to do for the first time. So if you love that, hey, drop in the chat, #live, #replay, and just hit us up. Any last word, ladies, before we close out?
Thank you. I loved it. Come on and dive. Come
Come
on.
and dive.
Drake Bay. Come on
And
over.
make that list. I
Okay,
didn't
yes.
die, or what was the name of the list?
Well, I didn't die.
Well,
That's how you
Yeah.
have to say it. Like, well, I didn't die.
well, I didn't die. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Ah,
We did it.
We
you know
might
what?
still be
I'm
live.
not sure about. I'm not sure if it
We
went.
might still be
I think it
live.
disconnected from
Yes.
Facebook. I think Facebook got disconnected.
Oh,
I think it
are
was
we
live. We were live for a while, and I think it cut off. But I know Zoom was live. I know LinkedIn
awesome?
was live. And you know what? I have more than one pages on Facebook, so maybe it was just my account. Let me
I
see the other
did
page.
heard other people who tried to go live from Zoom to Facebook. They told me that they were disconnected after a few minutes.
Interesting.
Mm.
What about this? It feels like it says on my screen that we're still custom live streaming or custom live streaming service.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
we are on some platforms, that's why
Oh, okay. Okay.